Is real estate fun right now? That was a question someone asked me the other day, and I kind of had to think about it and think, is it fun right now? No, it's not fun right now. It's not fun for buyers, it's not fun for sellers, it's not fun for real estate agents. And there's two reasons and two things we have to keep in mind. Number one is just the time of year that we're in. This is the end of the year. It's always slower. But this year, it is freezing slow. And the reason for that is simply because interest rates are back up over 7%. Everybody had in their mind that when the Fed cut the rate last time that it was going to drop interest rates, and they forget that the Fed rate is not tied to interest rates. They're two different calculations. So when we saw the Fed cut rates, that's actually when interest rates started going up. So that makes buyers take a step back and go, man, that payment is awful high. Now, where we're at over the course of this year is they've just been high almost every month of the year. We had a little bit of a break here and there, and buyer demand came back up and houses started moving pretty quickly. So if we start to see interest rates come back down, we'll start to see buyer demand come up. But that's why at open houses, guess how many buyers are coming through? Very few. That's why if you have your house listed, how many showing requests are you getting per day? Very few. Now, what does that mean if you are the seller and you're like, I need my house to sell today? Well, this is not going to be popular, and nobody's going to clap for me and be like, yay, I love that, Jenny. Because the truth is if you want your house to sell in the next 90 days, the only thing is going to be price. Because when interest rates are this high and we have so much uncertainty going on in buyers' mind, they are afraid that the house prices are going to come down next year and that they will suddenly be upside down. So you're going to have to decide, do I want to price my house where it's a little bit below market so that a buyer feels like, oh, if there's a little bit of a price change, price values maybe come down a little bit, I'm still okay because I got it a little bit below market at the end of 2024. When you're thinking through that, because sometimes sellers will be like, I'm just not going to do that, Jean. I don't care if it takes me a year to sell my house. I want you to look at your statements and see how much interest you're paying per month and then multiply that for, let's say, 6 months. So like on a lot of your loans, you're probably paying around $1,100 a month in interest. Now I'm just kind of pulling a number out of our average sales price, so definitely check yours. So if you're paying $1,100 a month towards interest, then that is the money that you're not getting back in equity. The principal you get back in equity. But if you've got to carry that house for 6 to 9 months, all of that interest is just living there. So you have to decide, do I want to continue to live here, or am I willing to give some to get where I want to go? And that's a question only you can decide. Spring, what's everybody saying? How's the spring market going to be? What's the forecast? My gosh, if I just could get that certificate in crystal ball reading, I would be able to tell you. But we don't know. We don't know if interest rates are going to come down, because I'm going to tell you the truth. This time last year, we were thinking that interest rates by the end of the year would be in the low 6s or high 5s. And the day I'm recording this video, we're above 7. We just don't know. We don't know if interest rates are going to get better. We don't know what's going to happen. The other thing that is happening for sellers, and if you were one of my clients probably 4 years ago, I started warning people about this because we could see it coming, but it's here now. So about 4 years ago, I was telling people, your house is what we call a resale house. That means you've lived in it and you are reselling. It's not brand new construction. 4 years ago, we didn't have a ton of new construction in Bartow County that you could actually go and buy and get into it pretty quickly. They were talking about building, they were starting to do the land grading and stuff like that, but it wasn't for sale yet. Because as a resale house, when you're competing with new construction, your house value and house attractiveness are always a little bit lower, because right now builders are offering incentives that you can't. They've got 4% interest rates. They're paying all the closing costs, things like that. So you've got to understand that as we've got all this new construction, your price, we may have missed being the highest sale in the neighborhood. And now it becomes a lot more important that we talk about, well, what is your goal? Because sometimes it's not that you're trying to make the most money. You just need to make a certain amount of money to move to where you want to go. And that's two different things. So just know that with all the new construction, especially if you're reselling a house in a subdivision that they're still building in, that can be tough. It's going to take either getting that price lower than what they're offering, or a whole lot of patience. So it's really not the best fun time. I mean, I've had more fun in real estate, but I know it's going to be fun again in the future.